Hi, OBSA. It's Marissa here. Today we have Alison, the Associate Director for Corporate Engagement and Partnerships for the Western Region for ASU's Career Professional Development Services. In 2001, she graduated from ASU, and she was active at that time as an undergrad, and she was president of the San Diego Alumni chapter and is currently active with the Seattle chapter. So she's going to talk about the alumni associations, and she's also going to talk about the career and professional development services at ASU. So Alison, I'm going to let you take it away. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks so much for having me. Hi, everybody. As she said, my name is Alison. I am, the title is very long, Associate Director of Corporate Engagement and Partnerships, like she said, of Western Region. My position is actually new. I've been here for about a year in this role for ASU Career and Professional Development Services. So it really stemmed from ASU Career Services wanting to get out there and create more job opportunities for all of our Sun Devils. As you know, we've been growing like wildfire in the past handful of years. And while that's great, ASU Career Services takes that very seriously, and we're asked to put together a plan on, what would we do to help create more opportunities for all of our new graduates that are graduating. And specifically, my position works in Washington, Oregon, California, Texas, and Colorado. So those are kind of my region. I happen to live in Seattle, Washington. My previous university brought me to Seattle, and when I had the opportunity to interview for this position, was up here. And as you well know, there's lots of big companies in Seattle. We've got the Microsofts and the Amazons. We've got Facebook here. We have Google. We have Hulu. We have, a lot of different areas. And so my job is really to create relationships with companies to get them actively or more actively recruiting from ASU, so that you as a student have increased internship opportunities and job opportunities. So that's a big part of my job. But I also work with alumni engagement. So I have the honor of working closely with our alumni chapters in all of those states. And as Marissa mentioned, previous to my time in Seattle, I lived in San Diego. I was president of the chapter there. I kind of got my start back in ASU being a part of the ASU Young Alumni chapter, which is there in Phoenix, for those of you that might be in Phoenix. I believe you are to be under 35 to be involved in the Young Alumni Council, but I don't think they actually card anyone. So there's, what we'll talk about today are just all the different ways that you as a student and as a student-to-be alumni can get involved in different ways that you can take advantage of the services that are available to you. As she mentioned, I'm an ASU grad myself. I graduated in 2001. My major was human communication. I went on from there to, I planned on actually working in marketing, but I've been now in higher education my entire career since 2002. I've worked for a variety of universities, for-profit, nonprofit, online, on ground. I've kind of done a little bit of everything. And to be back working with ASU as a staff member is really something very special. So this is a very cool opportunity for me. I feel very honored to have the chance to speak to you. So what I plan to do today is, instead of maybe showing slides, I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm going to kind of go through a few different websites with you all to show you where you can find and access a lot of the information that we have for you. Obviously, as business students, you also have access to the W.P.Carey Career Center. And what's really great is all of us at ASU Career and Professional Development Services, we work really closely with the W.P.Carey Career Center, as well as the Fulton School, the Engineering School Center. So it's awesome because we're really all on one team, right? We are all here to support the success of our students, of our alumni, just to promote ASU. So, I often might work with a company who says, I really need supply chain management folks, or I need marketing folks, or I need someone, specific to the business school. Well, I have that opportunity then to loop in my colleagues at W.P.Carey, and we all work together on how to support that employer. So just to give you a little bit of an idea on how that works, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, gosh, she works for Career Services, but don't we have one through W.P.Carey? So I definitely encourage you. And maybe what we'll do is we'll pull up W.P.Carey site just so you can see where the information is on their site as well. So that all being said, and we'll leave some time for questions. I know there's not a lot of you live online, that's fine. We can, anyone that has questions, and then of course, we'll make sure you have all of my contact information if after this session, or if you happen to be listening to this as a recording, you are more than welcome to reach out to me by email, by phone. I'll also make sure that Marissa has my LinkedIn information as well as my ASU Facebook page. I share lots of events going on and even jobs being posted by our employers on those platforms. So that all being said, I'm going to come down here and share my screen. And that way I can loop around and show you guys some fun stuff. Oh, you get to still see my face too, that's great. Okay, so like I mentioned, I work with ASU Career and Professional Development Services, so we'll kind of start there. This is actually a brand new website for ASU Career Services. So I will be honest with you, I mean, I'm talking in the last handful of days. We have unveiled this entire new layout. So I am kind of learning it alongside you, so we'll kind of look at it together. But really what we want you to be aware of is that as ASU alumni, you have access to ASU Career Services for life. So, you know, lots of other universities, sure, they might have a website like this and students and alums can log in and look at things, but maybe after a certain amount of years, you aren't able to make appointments with the career advisors. But ASU has changed that. For your entire lifespan, you have access to all of the services, including resume reviews, the one-on-one advising, which we do virtually for a lot of you that aren't physically there in Phoenix. So here on this site, you can spend a little time looking at who we are. I think it's great. We give some stats on how are our students doing, what percentage of students are employed, what's average salaries, where are students working, what are some of the top employers. And this is actually really exciting. Obviously, a lot of our graduates work in Arizona, but we have such a large number of online students now. You guys are making up a really big chunk of ASU's population. So we have so many students working in other states too. And because of all of our online students, as you get closer to graduation and graduate, I definitely see this number growing, right? And then internationally, we know that a lot of our students want to work internationally. And on my team, my senior director, her name is Sheila. She specifically works globally with companies to get them recruiting from ASU. So if you know you have an interest in working globally, we are working on that for you, and you can speak to a career advisor about that. So lots of great things here, talking about industries. So just giving you some ideas on what we're up to. So career advice, lots of interest here. So we have a whole thing called career interest communities. This is really exciting because let's say that, gosh, I don't know, you might be maybe you're doing an undergraduate degree in business, but you also have an interest in education. Your degree doesn't always have to dictate exactly what your career field is, right? So here in the career interest communities, you can get more information about different types of careers if you have a wide variety of interests. A lot of times I think business is such a great direction to go because it's going to prepare you for lots of different career types, but it might have just been what worked out for you at the time, or maybe you're not exactly sure where it's going to take you. You can definitely spend some time here in our career interest communities. We have some assessments on here that you can play with, learning a little bit more about your interests and skills, helping you find career paths. Another degree in career assessment here. So some interactive things that you can do. Chart your career path, resume and application materials, all kinds of great stuff. So you can actually submit your resume through our Dropbox and get feedback from an actual career advisor. We have a ton of helpful videos. In fact, ASU Career Services has its own YouTube channel. This might actually take you directly to it. But if you're on YouTube, it'd be ASU Career and Professional Development Services. There is a ton of videos on all different kinds of subjects, and we make them short because we know that everyone's got a busy schedule. So definitely encourage you to check that out. We also have this really cool new blog section, or you can see it's called Trending Topics. So we, as career professionals in career services, we are asked to submit blog articles or blog submissions on topics that we think might be of interest to you as students or alumni. So you can see a couple here from Jasmine. She's over on West Campus, I believe, addressing a gap in your work history. For a lot of you online students, you're adult learners. You have a work history. You're not maybe the typical 18 to 21-year-old college student. Maybe that's something you're concerned about. Or how do you write an effective accomplishment statement? So many things on here for you to take advantage of. Interviewing, making connections, grad school prep, how to develop skills. And after ASU, some things that are important, the professional development aspect, landing that dream job. And what this will really take us all to is something called Handshake. So I wish if we were in person, I'd have you all raise your hands and tell me how many of you might have already heard of Handshake or are using Handshake. It is the new platform, new-ish, that ASU uses to connect students and alumni to employers. There are now over 700 different universities utilizing Handshake. And gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many companies are utilizing Handshake. And so it truly is, right, a handshake between students and employers. So that's what my big task is to ask all of these companies that we're working with to make sure that all of their jobs and internships are posted in there, so that if you're hopping in Handshake, you can find a variety of positions, the type of position you're looking for from a variety of companies, which saves you time as opposed to going to, say, Amazon's website. What do they have? Microsoft's website. What do they have? XYZ company's website. What do they have? So we're trying to get it all in one place for you so you can have access to that wide variety of opportunities. Handshake is also how, if any of you participated in any career events, you most likely connected to that through Handshake. The business center as well as the engineering center, we all use Handshake together. And there's lots of handouts out here too. So we have active things that you can do and then lots of passive things that you can do as well. So again, just hope that you might take some time and look through each of the different things here. In terms of career resources, this is going to take you right into Handshake. Career insights and planning, working internationally, networking and professional connections, graduate school test prep, the resumes, interviewing, downloadable resources, lots of good stuff here. And then the actual career and internship search is that Handshake. So it's truly your hub for scheduling advising appointments. You'll actually do that through Handshake, upcoming events and workshops, applying for jobs, helping you develop your profile and uploading your resume, all kinds of good stuff. And I've talked to a few companies who, I believe the way it works is companies get a free Handshake account, but they can pay for a premium, and many of them do, because it allows them to directly communicate with students through Handshake. So that's really exciting. More and more companies are using it because they realize it's the #1 place to get in connection with university students and fresh alumni, but also seasoned alumni as well. And I think that's especially applicable to our online student population because, again, you're not the average college student. Some of you may be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who knows, with 10, 20, 30 years of work experience. Maybe you're finishing that bachelor's degree finally or getting your MBA. There's so many different stories that I think are unique to the online student. And we also communicate that to our employers. We like to make sure that they know, like, hey, this isn't just your typical campus population of students, again, who are most likely, between 18 and 25. Our population on Handshake is everybody. So hopefully it is very worthwhile for both you as a student or an alum, as well as the companies. And then I've got a whole section here that is for our employers. So we have a lot of information from them on our recruiting policies, how they post their jobs and internships. We have people in our office that help them with that, our recruiting calendar, helping them build their brand. So we take it as a very big responsibility that we help educate our employers on what's kind of the new and hot topics in the workforce. So I think a really great example that's been came up recently is, due to the rises in autism, we have more and more autistic folks who will be, entering the workforce soon or, are getting to that point. And so how are we helping to prepare our employers for how, the interview may be a little bit different than a typical interview, or that the traits that a person who has autism or might be on the spectrum, you know, that there are many, many good things that, you know, it might be a new type of personality, or they may have traits that the hiring manager may not have much experience with. So how can we help them be prepared for something like that? So it's an example. Microsoft actually is doing a really great job of supporting that particular community and really helping to educate around that to really help support. So it's exciting what's going on out there. We learn a lot. We help our companies learn a lot. It's totally a two-way street on you know, how can we support you really. So ASU Mentor Network, we'll talk about that here in a second. And then events. So lots of events are happening. You can see here the different events. And I know that this can be a little bit frustrating for online students. A lot of times the events are things that are specifically happening on campus. So keep an eye out for things that have a online component, right? And I think that's something that, you know, if you as an online student don't feel like there's a lot of things that you can participate in, like speak up. Help your, I believe you guys have success coaches, you know, speak up about resources. We want to make sure that we're providing you access to things as well. The university I worked with prior to ASU, I helped open a branch campus in San Diego. The main campus is located here in Seattle. And it was very much a concern, you know, a lot of the things happening were up here at the Seattle campus, and how can we make it possible for our other students to be involved too. So I know ASU is working on that. You know, the online programs have grown by leaps and bounds, but definitely speak up as to, you know, what you would like to see available to you as well. All right, so that is just some information on ASU Career and Professional Development Services. Our website now is career.asu.edu, so really easy to find. Again, I really encourage you to spend some time just clicking through different links. There might be things there that, gosh, you didn't even realize you had access to, the resumes, the interviews, the opportunity to participate in events, all kinds of things. And if you have a question, please let me know. If I don't know the answer, I will ask one of my colleagues. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we connect very closely with the W.P. Carey Career Center. So that's a little bit about career services. And let's see, I guess at this point, if there happen to be any questions, anyone who might be on the line is welcome to unmute and ask, or I believe you can potentially ask me in the chat window. We'll continue on unless anyone has any specific questions. Let's go to Alumni Association. So as I mentioned, I have been involved with a couple of different chapters. We call them geographic chapters. And we are all part of the ASU Alumni Association. So whether you were a student on campus or whether you were a student or you're an online student, we obviously consider you an alumni of ASU no matter where you went. So this is a really important site for you to become familiar with. There is a really fun app for those of you that aren't aware. We do have what's called Sun Devil Rewards. So lots of fun. It's a loyalty app. You can actually gain points by playing trivia games, and you can win prizes. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening. So definitely, if you have not already, download Sun Devil Rewards and you can play around on there. So chapters is what I am the most familiar with in terms of my alumni experience. And so those of you, wherever you might happen to be in the US, if you're near a major city, you most likely have a ASU alumni chapter near you. And even though if you haven't graduated yet, we encourage online students to attend our alumni events, mostly because, hey, we know that, like, for example, up here in Seattle, online students, you know, you don't have that same campus experience. You don't get to meet as many other students. And we want you to know that you are a Sun Devil just like the rest of us. You put your forks up. So, you know, for example, we'll click here on the Portland chapter if you happen to be in Portland. It's going to give you who is the leadership of that chapter, direct ability to contact them, a photo gallery. It looks like they've got a couple things coming up. Every year, each chapter does a thing called a Sun Devil send-off. So in this case, all of the high school seniors that just graduated that live in Portland or surrounding areas that plan on going to ASU for school, online or on campus, get to come to a send-off event, them and their parents or, you know, guests, whoever they might like to bring. Really great way to connect community. And I will say, as an ASU grad, it makes me so proud to work for a university that sure, we've set our sights on growth, but we see the immense importance of personal connections. So even if this Sun Devil send-off, it might have 10 people there, but that's okay. Those 10 people had a really incredible opportunity to meet and create personal connections with other students. Parents get to meet other parents. So lots of fun things happening. So that's how you can find out a little bit more about a chapter that might be near you. There are chapters all throughout the country. We also have international chapters. So this is really fun. If you're from another country, or you might be wanting to go work in another country, I mean, just look at this. Look at all the different chapters that are all around the world. It's actually pretty darn amazing. When my supervisor travels, a lot of times she's working with the chapters in other countries. So I think she was actually just in Mexico City, which is great. So this is just really exciting, because this, I hope, says to you, wow, ASU truly is everywhere, and you could be anywhere in the world and have support from your university. And then, so we do have some information down here, alumni chapter for students, different ways that you can get involved, checking out information about scholarships, student awards, the Student Alumni Association. So especially as an online student, we want you to be able to get involved. So definitely check those out. Events, a lot of these events are things that happen at the council or at the main campus in Tempe. We already talked about Sun Devil send-offs. Tillman Honor Runs are another really fun way to get involved. There is the big Pat Tillman Honor Run in Tempe every year, but each chapter also hosts what's called a shadow run. And we often work with military groups in our cities. And gosh, I would say for our Seattle run this past year, we had over 200 people. It's a great way to meet other Sun Devils, people who are, passionate about Pat Tillman and Pat Tillman's cause. So that's really fun. There's all of the kind of old school traditions, right? Like we have homecoming on campus. Golden Reunion is really neat. This is all celebrating the graduates from whatever year was 50 years ago. So anyone who graduated in that class is invited to come back for a really amazing ceremony. So there's all kinds of fun things. They do link to us here in Career Services, which is amazing. And then ways to give back. As an alumni, you can, of course, donate. You can become a member. You can volunteer. So membership, which what I think is really great is the Alumni Association changed things up a few years back, and you don't actually have to pay to be a member of the Alumni Association. Just by being an alumni, you are. But if you want to contribute to ASU, there are a few other options. You can be a Sparky, a Maroon, or a Gold, and then there's a few different options here. And there is some benefit to that. Sometimes the events, like a chapter event, might be a different price point based on your level of ASU membership. It's usually not a big difference, but it's a way to contribute and give back to your alma mater. And a lot of the money that is raised actually goes towards scholarships. So that's really exciting. So there, just to give you a little brief information there. And again, wherever you live, or if you plan on maybe relocating after you graduate, or you might end up relocating once you find a job, your local ASU alumni chapter is hopefully going to be a big resource for you as a group of people with whom you can connect. One of the greatest things about, events that the chapters do is that they may, tons of people with whom you may not have much in common whatsoever, but you share this special thing about being a Sun Devil, even if you went to ASU online. And what a great way to network, whether you're looking for a new job or you're happy in yours, you're looking for new connections. We're doing more and more things that are, of course, we have our social events, we do football game watching parties, we do networking events, but we also are looking at doing things that are more professional development in nature. So a little bit of something for everyone. For example, here in Seattle, we just recently had 2 events, one with a visiting faculty member. We also had an ASU alum that works for Amazon do a professional development night. We're looking at doing a hiking event. The San Diego chapter does hiking. Coming up soon, the Los Angeles chapter has a really cool event at LACMA, the LA Museum of Art. Contemporary Art Museum, LA Contemporary Art Museum, with whom ASU has a relationship. So there is just cool stuff happening all around the country, all around the globe. I did also want to share, I think I skipped over this, we've got the international chapters. There's also academic. chapters. So, you know, honors college, you know, each of the different colleges that you might be a part of. So I don't know if we list the business school on here. They have their own, I believe. But ways, you know, to be involved with your college. And then special interest. So there's a variety of other special interest chapters, some of which would, you know, probably apply to students who went to campus, but not always, you know. So I actually met Mario from the Hispanic Business Alumni chapter when I was on campus last year. That could definitely be something that online students could get involved with, you know, LGBT pride, all sorts of things. Native American alumni chapter. So definitely take a look through here. A lot of you might be familiar with, or some of you might even be part of the Starbucks College Achievement Plan. So you have an alumni group too, young alumni chapter, and you know, they're always looking for members, always looking for interest. So I just really encourage you guys to check that out. So really, you know, it's especially, like I said, for online students, we want you to get involved. We want you to feel like you're as much a part of the university as, you know, anyone else that just happened to go to campus. One of the things I will say, we've been doing events with Starbucks called Sun Devil Lunch Breaks, where we've done one in San Diego. We just had one in Phoenix. I'm doing one in Seattle soon, where anyone who is a current student or alumni that works for Starbucks, we bring them together for a really fun ASU kind of get to know you session, updates on what's happening at ASU. And when I was in San Diego, definitely more than one of the SCAP graduates who did an online ASU degree mentioned how much they recommended going to Phoenix for the graduation ceremonies. So I just wanted to make that plug. It had so much impact on them, really helping them feel like they were a part of the ASU family. So if you are getting close to graduation, or it's a couple years off and you're just not sure if you wanted to go all the way out there, I really encourage you to do it. A physical place doesn't have to mean anything, but it's really about that opportunity to be sharing the experience with others and meeting other people, and just being proud of the accomplishment that you made, and knowing that you are a Sun Devil just like any of the rest of us. So that's a little bit more about chapters. I'm going to move on from there and pop over here to what's called the ASU Mentor Network. So actually, we're going to pretend like we're starting from scratch. Mentorship.asu.edu. And actually what I'll do is I'll provide Marissa a link to send everyone where you can actually, it's kind of my referral link, and that way you can join as kind of my guest. The great thing, I'll go ahead and click enter, so it takes you back to this main page here. The ASU Mentor Network is relatively new. It's an opportunity for us to connect our students and alumni with other Sun Devils who might be graduated in their careers. We also invite our employer partners to join because we know they have a lot of great things to offer you in terms of advice, mentoring, all of that good stuff. And I think mentorship typically has a stigma of being time consuming. So when you think about being someone's mentor, or perhaps finding someone to be your mentor, you're thinking, gosh, you know, what does this mean? Does this mean hours on the phone? Do we have to meet every week? You know, what does this mean for me? And that's the same for the mentor, right? They're busy, they've got their career, they might have a family. So it's like, how the heck can I mentor someone? The great thing about this website is it's kind of a choose your own adventure opportunity. So mentorship could be really involved and involve in-person meetings. It could be sharing a couple emails back and forth, just answering some questions. It could be a 15-minute phone call. I've answered questions that students have just posted in, you know, in the open area. And there you can see here, like new posts, different ways, questions that students might ask, and then you can go in and answer them, see what they have to say. There's a lot of cool resources in here. And then of course you would set up your profile. So what's neat about this is you actually have the opportunity to be a mentor for someone or be a mentee, seek a mentor. So you can definitely do both things through the site. So there's make a connection here. So, you know, I can actually go, you know, I can filter through people and see if there's anyone I want to speak to, mentoring programs. And actually, this is great. There's a couple things on here that are right, you know, specific to business students. So that's really exciting. There's different groups in here. So ASU Online, I would 100% encourage any of you who, there's only one member, that needs to change, right? So like I said, this is new. We're getting it off the ground. But there's all kinds of groups in here. So I definitely, you know, if any of these things interest you, once you join, hop in, join the group. There's discussion on here. And, you know, answer a few questions for my homework assignment. But here, there's a great one. Creative ways to network in a narrow industry. Tips on getting a project coordinator or project manager. Honing in skills. So there's all kinds of things on here, and you might even just be interested in what people are asking. Resources, some cool things going on in here, events. I haven't actually looked at the events, no events. So just again, the mentorship network is an opportunity for you as a student or alumni to perhaps seek a mentor. Perhaps you know that there's a very specific type of job you want to find and you're not sure what steps you should take to get there. Maybe you're nervous about going to your first, you know, networking event and you want advice on how to approach people. I mean, it can run the spectrum of things, but just a great way to know that you have people out there who are maybe ASU graduates or maybe not, but they are passionate about Sun Devils. So they're here waiting to help you out. So that kind of covers a lot of the things that I wanted to go over today. So again, speaking about ASU Career Services, the fact that you have Career Services for Life, again, that's career.asu.edu, the ASU Alumni Association, alumni.asu.edu, and especially encouraging you to get involved in your local chapter if you happen to have one. All students are encouraged to attend events. You can even be on the board, I believe. And a lot of chapters are often looking for volunteers to help plan events and things like that. And then our ASU Mentor Network. And again, I'll provide Marissa my referral link so you can join as my guest. And that can be just another way for you to connect and be a part of this, you know, growing Sun Devil network that is out there now. So I believe that covers really the big pieces that I wanted to cover. We're just scratching the surface on a lot of these things. So of course, again, if you have questions, you can let me know. Oh, it looks like I've got some questions over here. Now I can see how to do it. Okay, let's see. 1 second. Chat. Here we go. Okay, I can now see the chat, yes. Do I know what the current employment rate is for ASU grads? In total, I don't. So it looked like we had, I'm going to pop back over here, who we are, graduate career outcomes. So it looks like, I can scooch this guy over here. We've got, this is really like right after graduation. So you can see these numbers. It'd be difficult for us to track the employment, graduation rates. I'm sorry, you're asking about graduation rates. You know, that's a really good question. Let's see. I don't know if we have that on here. Great question from Lucille about graduation rates. I don't know the answer to that question, but I will ask for you. And then next question, are the alumni associations monitored in any way? The chapter name doesn't seem super active. So they are monitored. We all answer to the ASU Alumni Association, and there are certain things that chapters have to do in order to stay active. So they have to do a certain amount of events, in order to be considered a chapter. There also are what are called clubs. That's usually like a smaller group of people that are hoping to become a chapter. I will say sometimes it's a challenge because they are volunteer positions, right? So anyone who's active as a chapter leader, they're doing it because it's their love for ASU. They're not obviously paid positions. So it's tough with life. But if you notice that your chapter isn't super active, I would definitely encourage you to go to the chapter's page, reach out to the president, say like, hey, I'm Lucille, I'm an online student, I live in Maryland. I'd really like to get involved. I don't see a lot of events happening, what's going on? Also, almost all of the chapters have Facebook pages. So actually I can show you, I'm gonna zip my ASU Facebook over here and show you guys. So this is my ASU Facebook. And I'm going to pop in here and show you, for example, the Seattle Sun Devils ASU Alumni Chapter. So on our Facebook page, and anyone can like it, right? I can click on events, and I can see here's a couple upcoming things that are happening. So this should be reflected on the chapter's webpage, but sometimes you'll find that chapters might be faster to get it up on Facebook. So we have a ASU Day with the Mariners, and then our Sun Devils Send Up coming up. Here's all the past events that we have. So definitely check to see if your chapter has a Facebook page too. You might actually be able to link to that from, I'm going to show you. So we go to chapters, and I'm just going to click here, Seattle chapter. So in the page, it actually has these links right here, stay connected. So you can click to connect with your chapter on Facebook, perhaps Twitter or LinkedIn. We also have an Instagram. It doesn't look like that's been connected yet. LinkedIn is a great place to connect. So we do have a Seattle Sun Devils group on LinkedIn. It's not super active, I'll be totally honest with you. But it looks like, yeah, we've actually had a few different things going on here. So that's really cool. So check your chapter's page out and see how you can connect. But definitely reach out. Just because you don't see a lot happening doesn't mean that there isn't stuff going on. Or maybe if you're excited about it, you can kind of help maybe get people back to being excited about it again. Okay, let's see, what else we got? Do the SCAP lunches include people no longer working at Starbucks? I left a couple months before I graduated. So yes, because it would be any alumni, I believe so. Any alums, that's a very good question. It might be current students and alumni who are currently working at Starbucks. I would say if you just left a couple months ago, you're probably welcome to attend. We are just excited to get people there and connecting. So there's actually a SCAP Facebook group. I can pull it up for us here. I believe it is, yes, SCAP Alumni Association. So on Facebook, there's what's called the SCAP Alumni Association. It's a group for students and alums that are part of the SCAP program. So I would definitely check that out too. It looks like it's just groups SCAP AA. And Anne, who's one of the presidents, she does a great job of posting information and events that are coming up. Veronica, she's actually my colleague at ASU Career Services in alumni engagement. So we both get in here. I've posted some things in here before too. There's me. So we're also posting info in here as well. So any of you that are SCAP folks, students or alums, make sure you join this group too. And what if your area does not have a chapter? Can you join one near or next to your area? Of course. So if you live in, I don't know, let's say Portland's a great example, but you live in Medford, Oregon, of course you're welcome to attend Portland chapter events. It's just typically like the larger cities in the country have the actual chapters, but you are welcome to attend a chapter event no matter where you are. So Lucia, I know you mentioned you're in Florida right now for vacation. There might be an ASU chapter near you. You could always look them up and see if they have anything going on. It is definitely the more the merrier type of situation. And that's actually something our alums talk about quite a bit when we get together, is that, you know, hey, I've got to travel to Austin for work. You know, I don't know anyone there, but I bet you I could reach out to the chapter and see if anything's going on, or does somebody want to meet for dinner? You kind of have this instant family. I say instant family, just add water, when you are part of this Sun Devil family. So don't be shy to utilize these resources in this network. Okay, I think that is all of the chats except for the graduation rate information that I do not know. I'm sure that we can break that down by like all of ASU, and then it's probably by college. I mean, I'm sure we have tons of details. You might actually, you can always try Googling that on the site, or searching for it on the site as well. Okay, so I don't see any other chats coming up right now. Again, I would encourage any of you who would like to chat with me or have any other questions, you're welcome to reach out anytime. My email address is super easy. It's just ascott, ASCOTT @asu.edu. That's actually the same email address that I had from 1997 to 2001 when I was a student. So I got to keep it as a staff member. You're welcome to email me anytime. I'll make sure, again, that Marissa and Lucille have my information as far as LinkedIn, connecting with me on Facebook. And if you have any questions about any of this, you are welcome. Even if you're like, I don't know if Alison is the right person to ask, please feel free to send me the question, because if I don't know, I'll help you find out, and that usually helps me learn something kind of new too. And of course, if you are in Seattle or might be visiting Seattle, please let me know. I love my apartment, but I'd like to get out of it as well. I travel when I'm not working at home, and I travel a decent amount, but it's always fun to have a reason to meet up with a Sun Devil who might be visiting. And I think that's all I've got for today. So Marissa, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Allison, for taking the time to talk to us. Like she said, I will be getting all of that information up for our members, so you can definitely continue to ask her questions. Like she said, if she doesn't know the answers, she'll find one of her colleagues that can help you. And I also kind of assume that she can kind of connect you with someone around your area as well if you really need some help with that. So I am going to stop the recording, so you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.